So that's where you guys got the lists from.
Yeah,
And do
pretty
you
much.
agree with, let's say, the lists like I have here that I brought up?
Oh, you want to know how we got the list
No, but
together?
I'm saying complex lists or Billboard lists.
I don't agree with it.
Never.
Fuck them.
Well, Billboard is sales
Is
driven.
worse.
Fuck them.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't make
Worst,
lists.
worst.
They make lists. It's based on money.
It's
Yeah,
the
it's
worst.
all sales.
Well, they're
Complex
a
list is
business,
not
Yeah,
as
that's
bad.
it. And you got to see but that's part of the agreement with Billboard is
Yeah.
you can't base it off that. The top album sales are not going to be the best albums.
A lot of
It's
people
just what Billboard is.
listen to shit music.
Yeah.
because that's what's put in their face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, like I have here the complex list. Number one artist of the decade was Drake. You
yeah.
agree?
So we actually discussed that on
I
one
know,
of our
it's-
episodes. Yeah. I forget which episode, but we can
It was
find
one
out
of the
and if you
later
want to link
ones.
it. But I agree with it because, well, you explained it. Go ahead.
About Drake?
Yeah.
Well, Drake makes music for everybody. So
Right.
overall,
So you say he's over Kendrick?
for
For
me,
you, no, right?
no. For me, no. For me, Kendrick is
Number one.
When we did Artist of the Decade, Kendrick came in one.
That's
From
what
our
I gave.
listeners voted.
Yeah,
Kendrick
that's
won.
what I voted. I voted him as
Yeah.
number one.
but
Also.
it's normal to have
Drake was in our face though for the whole
Drake would be the
decade.
people pleaser.
That's it. But you got to consider like he put out in the matter of 10 years. Take Care was
God's
well.
Plan, Nice
Thank
for
me.
What?
Thank me later
Feelings.
was 2010.
Yeah.
Take
God.
Care 2011. Nothing was the same 2013 or 14.
If you're reading this,
If you're reading this was I think maybe 2014 2015.
True.
4 good projects in those first 5 years and then hits.
you
You're
said
looking at the hits. God's Plan, Nice for What? In My
That's it.
Feelings, One Dance, Hotline
So,
Bling.
yeah.
Remember Hotline Bling? I even forgot
Man.
about Hotline Bling. Like,
The,
you
the,
see-
the singles off Views were so good.
true.
The album sucked, but the
was-
singles
I
off
hated
Views
the
were
album.
incredible.
I hated the album.
And the same for Scorpion. Like
The album was kind of rough, but
Yeah.
there's some bangers on it.
that's it. So
look
like
at
when
that.
when you take all those hits, considering the shitty body of work, it's still
you guys answered the question. The hits.
Yeah.
He put out 4 good albums. Okay, you just said 4 good albums, right?
yeah,
And hits.
right.
Of course, he's artist of the decade. But the way I base it on versus where those people based it on is I put Kendrick Lamar because Kendrick Lamar put out 4 fantastic albums.
Yeah, complete albums.
Lyrical albums,
and the lyrics.
storytelling albums. Yeah, he had a couple of hits here and there, but you see how I base it compared to the other people base it or how we based it?
Yeah.
It's also how you prefer. The Kendrick albums are the albums you prefer.
Yeah.
If you were to ask me, I'd say the Kanye albums, and Kanye is artist of the decade. If you ask me.
See, he already put him third.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he's. But the thing with Kanye that you also.
Future fourth? Future's
Yeah,
fourth?
that's garbage.
What?
That's bullshit.
But that's
Yeah,
That's
but it
complex.
sells. He
Yeah, okay, but he
brings.
wasn't
That's it.
that
That's-
big.
that's-
He was
that's
that
the
big in this
problem,
decade?
and-
You fine?
But
Your Future's been around since like
Mask Off, Love,
mid
Love,
2000s,
yeah.
man. He's been around for a long
Yeah,
time.
I know, but he
a
fell
long
off,
time.
finally.
but again, look how we're basing it. I'm basing it on bodies of work, not
J.
hits.
Cole's fifth.
Right?
I would.
Like the amount of work that they put out.
Yeah, and how
Yeah.
good their work is and how good their album is, not because of their hits. I don't care about your
No, the
hits.
hits don't mean
You
much.
know what I
but
mean?
the Drake thing is how big it actually is, how commercial
He's
he
huge.
put hip hop onto the map. The thing I would say about Kanye is similar to the reason that you said about Kendrick, in that he has the great albums throughout the decade, starting with Beautiful Dark, Yeezus. Mind you, they're not that
College
great
Dropout.
going forward. Well, those are before.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Like-
Those would be
Pablo's
before the
great.
decade, but
Before.
the influence.
Mm-hmm.
This was Kanye's decade of influencing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like everyone that came around was based off Kanye.
The influence.
It's even bigger than Drake, if you ask me. But
I
I mean,
appreciate that he put Pusha T though on this list. I wouldn't have expected
he
him
could
to
have
put
gone
Pusha
higher,
T.
I think.
Yeah, but I'm saying at least they put Pusha T because I didn't think they would put
But Pusha T, lyrically,
Kills it.
amazing.
on my list, he's like
He's
Yeah,
higher
yeah,
than
he
that.
murders it.
Here he's 10.
his
I
number
think.
is in the fives.
He's low key like.
That's it. He's
like
really,
Pusha T for me has just ever since like this decade hit what he was coming out with. Like, see, I look at it lyrically. Pusha T has no hits, maybe one, two.
No.
The featuring
He's
on
not
the
a hit
Kanye.
maker. Yeah, he's not a hit
You know
maker.
what I mean? It's like I'm
yeah, it's
looking at
true.
it deeper than that. I'm looking at it. What did he do for hip hop? How did he do it for hip hop? How was his like? What did he come out with that kind of changed people's mentality? How like their cadence when they were rapping? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
how were they putting their flows together? How did they like his rhyme scheme and all that stuff? That's what I'm
Yeah, the
looking
way
at.
he creates
If
the single or the record.
Yeah, if I make sense the way I'm explaining it, like
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, no.
how is he rhyming? Like on like is he rhyming this word with this word and where in his verse? Like it's things like that I'm looking at when I'm looking at these artists and how I base my artists.
Not necessarily on where they rank on the top 10.
Right.
Absolutely
Billboard
not.
or-
Like Billboard.
I would,
like
I would,
said,
I would
Billboard
add to what you're saying. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. This is why these episodes that we do
Yeah.
have good content. I would go as far as saying that Pusha T makes it on Best Artist of the Decade in terms of complex rap.
Yeah.
Because we have to now appreciate him after the fact.
Yeah. but you
Nobody's
still-
talking about, unfortunately,
Nobody
many
talks
of the
about him.
people that are talking about Pusha T are not talking about clips.
No.
So you have to kind of, we didn't like him back then, and we're still not giving that shit enough love. So we gotta.
I feel the people
push
that
the
know
new
about
stuff.
Pusha T today, if you really don't know hip hop that well, our guys just know him and Drake beefed. People don't know.
Yeah,
Pusha T
and that
much.
doesn't
And
mean
besides,
much,
like
right?
you said, the feature on Kanye West.
Exactly.
Right, exactly,
People
yeah.
don't really know Pusha T.
Right.